He's gonna restate it again. Why is he doing it again? His content is making her bad.
Hold on. I never said I had strong opinions.
You just said it was net good.
Alex.
It sounded a little strong.
Sorry, I'm like freaking out. My bad.
Hold on.
I know you are. My bad.
Just clarifying this. When guys are on dates and they're meeting girls.
Oh my god, I'm losing my mind.
And you have it all wrong. And the women that you're actually catering to are the women that are going to use you for your money.
Yes. Even in those cases, you can't get away with treating women like these guys tell you again. The like highly successful men can juggle 5 women at once and they'll be happy for it. Or that if you cheat on your woman, it makes her more competitive with other women. Like these are like insane pieces of advice. I feel like men have to go to therapy to unlearn that they would learn from red pillers if they ever want to have a shot at a successful relationship.
I kind of agree with you.
I agree with you totally, and that's why I'm not red pill.
Let's jump right into it. So here's the first question. Who do you think should lead in a relationship, and to what extent?
The man should lead in the relationship. To all extent. I mean, I'm sure the woman will have influence, and that's fine. It's not really a control mechanism, but as far as who's in the lead role, yeah, I believe it would be better suited to male.
That's me.
Okay, hold on, wait. Do we mean hooking up, or do we mean like relationships like you're dating?
Relationships like you're dating.
Okay, I view these as partnerships. I mean, like, there's going to be some areas that the man feels more strongly about and other areas that the woman feels more strongly about, and who's leading where is just going to depend on who's got the preference. So like if a guy has to move somewhere for a job, the guy's probably leading in terms of picking where to live. If a woman is like staying home and taking care of children, the woman's probably going to lead when it comes time to like grocery shop or something like that. It just kind of depends on what the assigned roles are and what the dynamic of the relationship is. But I think healthy relationships generally form as partnerships, not with like a clear like hierarchy of leadership.
All right, can you guys see us?
Nope.
We can hear you.
Yeah, so we're trying to hear that. All right, so yeah, so we have 3 ladies in the room. I guess we might as well go ahead and let them give their take. So we'll start with Exit.
Hey, I'm Exit. Damn. I mean, I have to agree with Destiny. It's 100% a partnership. It just depends on the dynamic because, I mean, some guys just want women to make all the choices. Some women want men that just, lead the way, I think. So...
All right, we'll get over to Steffi Boom.
What's up? My name is Steffi Boom. Hi, guys. Hi, Destiny. Big fan.
Hi.
I agree with you, to be frank. I think that it really depends on the people. It depends on the relationship. Just like Exit said, I'm right there with you, girl.
Okay, Anna?
I'm Anna911, and I think that I prefer like the man to take the lead just because like the world is scary and I don't want to make decisions.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay. All right, Ariane, you got your work cut out for you. There's one girl agrees with you, 2 girls disagree with you. So yeah, we'll get into open dialogue. So this is where you just like.
Well, hold on. I wouldn't say disagree. I didn't even disagree with what Destiny said. I just simply said overall, as far as the direction of their life, what is their plan, what is their mutual goal. Yeah, I think the guy would be the one taking the lead and orchestrating that. And part of him leading is delegating certain departments to her, like, say, the groceries, like, say, the child care. So there really wasn't a disagreement there.
I mean, I would disagree. I don't think you can delegate that to the woman. She has to agree to do it. Like, it's not like when I think of delegating, I think of in my business, there are employees that I say, hey, I'm paying you, therefore you have to do this task. I'm delegating this responsibility to you. If I'm like with my wife in a house and I'm like, hey, Mel, you're going to go do that. That's not going to work. I can't delegate tasks to my wife. We can have a conversation about like, hey, how do you want to, differentiate between roles in the house? Or if you want to have a kid in the future, when do we want to do that? But all of these things are 50-50 partnerships. Like I can't delegate responsibilities to my wife in my relationship, at least. Maybe some men do, but I feel like in general, a healthier relationship is always going to be like a partnership in terms of figuring out what you want to do next.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, if that's the way you feel about it, I don't really see how that's really that different than what I said.
Well, delegation, I think, implies hierarchy, implies you can tell somebody what to do.
Well, no, it means that we have a plan. Somebody might be, say, the captain of the team, maybe the leader of the team, and he might be charged with saying, hey, you are best suited for this person is best suited for that, I'm best suited for this. So I mean, I guess that could be a semantics argument, but I guess delegate means something different than it does to me, to you. And then also if you're part of a team at work, there is going to be some type of hierarchy. So why would a relationship at home with a woman be any different?
Well, because I'm not at work, there's a hierarchy because you've got bosses and employees.
Right,
I guess in a household, do you have a boss and an employee in the household?
Right, and the employees agree to that arrangement, much like obviously the woman would have to agree to that. Just like Anna said, there are women that do feel like the man is better suited to come up with the direction of the relationship and make those type of decisions.
I guess, so when I have these conversations, I like to ground everything out in examples. That's why I gave the example earlier of if a man needs to move, then he's probably going to be in charge of that. If a woman is in the household, say she's like doing like standard housewife duties, she's probably going to be in charge of shopping because she's around the house more often. I'm trying to think of an example of, and you're saying where like the man leads the relationship. Can you give me an example of like a man like making a decision for both partners? Like, what do you mean when you say that?
You already gave a great example, deciding what city they're going to live in.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that's because the man is the one working. So like if the woman was the one with the higher paying job, you might move because of the woman. That has nothing to do with the hierarchical roles of man or woman. I'm just saying in an example where the man is working, he would probably choose to move for his job. If the woman was working, she would probably choose to move for her job. Or let's say in another example, let's say the man and the woman decide they want to have kids, but the man doesn't have much of a family, but the woman has like a really good extended family. The woman and the man might decide like, hey, the woman's family lives in Arkansas. We should go move closer to them because they can help with the kids. Like that would be a decision you could make. But like, I'm just trying to think of like, where's a decision where a man is like leading in the relationship and he has to make the decision for the woman. And it's not like a 50-50 thing. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I mean, in all of the decisions, I mean, I don't know, Destiny, if there needs to be a specific things. I think just in general,
what car, do you mean like what car you buy?
Yeah, anything, like just one decision.
City,
if you can't give an example, like what are we talking about? Otherwise it just feels kind of like we're paying lip service to the idea of the man leading. Like,
well, let me pose an example that I think will clarify this. So if you're in a situation, you're dating somebody and it turns out that your girlfriend's better at organizing than you, should you still be the one that leads, or should she be the one that leads when it comes to organizing? Because I'm knowing myself as an example, I'm extremely disorganized. My girlfriend's really, really good at organizing. So when we travel, for example, I just let her take care of all the organizing, right? And I'm okay with that. So where do you stand on that, Allende? Would you be...
okay, look, it's like he was saying that he looks at that as like hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy of people. Okay, well, there's a hierarchy of priorities. So I think the priority would be, you know, where to live, actually getting a home, affording a home before comes the priority of putting groceries in that fridge. You see what I'm saying? You have to first have the home that has the kitchen, that has the fridge to put the food in. And then what example did you just give? Like organizing the house and cleaning and stuff like that?
No. Organizing when you travel.
Okay, yeah, that too. Same dynamic. So what comes first? Earning the money to go traveling, being able to protect said people involved in the trip when you travel to wherever you travel to, making the good decisions, planning what hotel, how far is it from where we want to be, what's the transportation going to be, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, the smaller things would be like packing the bags, making sure you have the right, things in your luggage. So, of course, the woman would take that. But what I'm saying is there's a hierarchy within those actual tasks.
Like, even what you just said there was loaded, like, so much. Like, the woman would take care of the smaller tasks. It's not like what Alex is saying is like...
Right, no. I'm saying it like that, and anybody can get triggered by that. But like,
hold on, nobody's getting triggered. I don't even know what you mean.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general. Someone can look at it as well.
Well, but you're responding to me, and you're saying you can get triggered by that. So
I understand. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about anybody that's listening would say, "How dare you say that the woman's task is smaller?" I just explained why I would think that, because you have to first go on said trip to pack for said trip. So obviously, the planning of the trip and the expenses of the trip are bigger than packing what you're going to bring.
Yeah, but all of that is going to be co-decided. Are you really going to tell your girl, like, hey, in 3 months, we're going on a vacation to Alaska? Full, like, boom. No, I feel like that'd probably be a discussion. Like, hey, where do you want to go? And then you guys would have, like, a conversation about where you want to go. It'd be like a partnership thing.
Right, and it'd be heavily influenced by the woman because the guy that's in the lead would want to make the woman happy. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's a marriage. It all goes hand in hand.
Okay. So I think my answer is correct then.
I'm not saying the guy's making decisions without taking the woman into consideration. That's not what I'm saying. The lead.
Okay, well, I guess when you describe lead here, that's not how lead is ever used ever. Like, as a manager, when I lead on projects, I don't get feedback from my employees. Like, what do you guys think we should do next? Like, I'm the boss. What?
That's a bad manager. And that's a bad manager.
No, the manager's interests are going to be aligned necessarily differently with the employees, right? Like, you might have, like, they might give you some input, but at the end of the day, you might make decisions that your employees don't like. Like, hey, we're going to move in this area, we're going to adopt this framework, we're going to do this thing, and your employees at the end of the day are like, oh, they either go along or they leave, right? That's what it means to be a manager. But in like a relationship, it's a way more of a partnership type of thing than like a delegating responsibilities and tasks and telling people what to do type of thing.
I don't see it that way. You're the one that's acting like it can't be a variety to that. I think if you're the manager, you can manage the way you manage. If you're a coach, you coach the way you coach. If you're a parent, you parent the way you parent. Some parent might spank, and some people look at that as abuse. Another parent will never will never hit the children. But does one mean parent and the other one doesn't mean parent? No, it's just different styles of parenting.
No, it does. It does. I mean, like if you're a parent and you're like a friend with your children and you hang out with all their buddies and you never discipline your child, you're not really much of a parent, right? You're just a friend to your kid. So, I mean, I think the roles are meaningfully different. If you're telling me that you've got a style of leadership that's essentially just cooperation, then I guess we would agree. But it's strange that you would present it as like the woman does the small tasks, the man is in charge and makes the final decisions. But then you're also saying like, but it's also a cooperative process the entire time. I don't know what. In that case, it just sounds like you're saying it's just a 50-50 cooperation. I don't know where the man is leading.
I think maybe our disagreement is the level and degree to which you think women can lead and manage. So
well, how can not? What? Like what? Yeah. What do you mean? What's the difference? Or
what I'm saying is, generally speaking, the man should and would be making better decisions than the woman would be capable of. And
like in what domain? Like give me examples. Like where?
Hold on.
Yeah.
And she would be attracted to said guy that could make better decisions in the areas where she would be weaker.
Yeah, I just need examples. Like, what do we mean? Like, can a woman not like pay her bills?
I feel like we've already had those examples. Yeah, women can go work and pay for bills, but I mean, studies would show, and I know you know this because you're a very smart guy, Destiny. You know that generally speaking, men manage money better than women.
I don't know if that's true. Is that actually true? I would actually be surprised if that was
I'm not saying all men are better than all women.
No, I mean even as like a generality, is it true that men manage money better than women manage money in terms of like investments and everything? I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. Last time I saw that they lean towards that in the conclusion of their studies. Even how much money someone would have saved. Say the average female American and the average male American in the same age demographic, the guy would have more money saved.
I would believe that because men earn more typically, so that makes sense. Yeah, but managing money implies something different.
I mean, any way you want to look at it, but there is a division of labor, right? There is a division of labor, and I don't think all labor is going to be equal. Just like I'm sure if it's heavy things to be lifted, I'm sure the guy would be doing that, not the woman.
I mean, for picking things up, that's probably true, yes.
Okay.
Let me once again redirect to my analogy. So let's say I'm a noob. I don't know anything about women, but I have a great girlfriend, right? And we're planning on traveling. And I come to both of you and I'm like, hey, Destiny, I really suck at like planning things. Do you think it's okay if I just let my girlfriend plan the trip and just organize everything? You'll probably say, sure, man, that's cool. I'm assuming, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Destiny.
Yeah, if she was good at it, I'd say, yeah, go for it, sure.
Okay. What would you say, Allende, if I asked you that question?
I'd say my team wants to win. So whoever's better in that area, that's the person that would handle it.
Oh, okay. So then you guys are actually saying the same thing.
Okay. I don't know. What do the ladies think?
What was the question?
Am I a misogynist? That's the question.
No, look, the question is that let's say there's an area where the girl's a lot better. Like, yeah, I'm using myself as an example. I'm horrible at organizing and planning and all that shit, or at least planning when it comes to travel, right? So me and Addie travel. I'll let her take care of everything. I'll let her take care of getting the plane ticket. I'll let her take care of like fucking making sure we get to the airport on bus. I let her take care of all this shit because one, I don't really like doing it, and two, I know she's a lot better at it than me.
Okay, but if something went wrong, who would enforce the resolution? Would that be you or Natty?
Well, it would depend on who's making the decision, right? If my girlfriend, or well, my wife, if my wife was in charge of planning shit and shit got fucked, well, then she's going to have the responsibility and the consequences of fucking up the planning, right? Depends on who's in charge of the given task, I would imagine.
What if you're better and more dominant when it comes to dealing with the customer service and whoever's going to resolve that issue?
If I'm better, more dominant with customer service, then I'll deal with it. I've dated some really cunty women before that are fucking awesome at dealing with customer service before, though. So I think the women that I'm with are usually really good at like I want this fucking shit done right now. So I mean, I usually let them deal with it. But again, this isn't a question then of like who's leading the man or the woman. This is just a question of who's better suited for a given job. In which case, you would just let whoever's better suited for it take care of it, regardless of if they're man or woman, I guess.
Right. But I would raise my hand and say, I think when it comes to overall leadership, I think the man would be the better leader. Now, obviously, if we start breaking it down into specific things, areas to lead within, well, then, of course, the woman would take some of those. I mean, there's even times when the kids would take some of those things. If you have kids that are already teens, there are going to be areas where the kids are like, Dad, you don't know anything about this new technology. Let me show you something. and that's the kid.
Yeah, it's kind of neutral. I think like people naturally should play at their strengths. If you know someone is good at something, you need that something done, have them do it. And so that's kind of like a neutral thing, in my opinion.
Sure.
I think you guys are both saying something very similar, so I think we can move on, unless you guys have anything to add to the next topic, because you guys are largely in agreement.
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, cool. So let's get into everyone's favorite topic, Andrew Tate. So I venture to say that Destiny and Allende have completely different feelings about the whole situation. So let's start off with you, Destiny. Just give a 30-second summary. What do you think about that whole thing? And then you, Allende, and then we kick it off.
Wait, hold on, real quick before you do that. Are we talking about a specific incident involving Andrew Tate, or are we talking about Destiny's views on Andrew Tate in general?
No, we're just talking about in general, what's going on, like him, one, how much value does he provide as a content creator, like is he helping men or is he hurting men, whether he's a good role model, and two, about his like current situation, whether that's justified or not justified.
Okay.
I would say he's overwhelmingly a net negative. I think his entire life has been that of a sex trafficker and a scam artist, most of which he self-admitted to basically every part of this. He's a guy that runs casinos, and then even if we don't believe he's sex trafficked, he admitted to scamming men with his camming business. So I don't know. He says a couple of good things, I guess, but I mean, even Hitler made a couple of positive comments in his lifetime, I'm sure. But yeah, I would say Andrew Tate is overwhelmingly negative, probably deserves to be in jail, probably deserves to be convicted for sex trafficking. That's my feelings about it.
All right. Allende?
Where to start? Okay. I'm usually out of the loop. Like, I heard that Destiny had these type of views on Andrew Tate, but I didn't hear him say these things himself. I mean, I don't get the opportunity to watch much content, so I don't even really know too much of the details of what's going on with Andrew Tate. But I think the perspective that I have is purely personal. So from talking to him and spending time with him is where my perception of him comes from. So I don't know if that's better or worse for these discussions, because these are people that are like looking into all these details about Andrew Tate. They know a lot more about that kind of stuff. I'm dealing with the man on a one-on-one, and that's how I like to judge people. There's many YouTubers people could ask me about, and I say, listen, I couldn't tell you. But if it's a YouTuber that I met and I got to speak to personally, I feel like I'm not dealing with the persona. I'm not dealing with the social media or mainstream persona. I'm dealing with the individual. Now, as far as admitting to scamming men or whatever through women, I think there's a slight layer of relatability I could have to that, and hopefully no one takes it out of context. But I very much do look at myself as helping men, aside from even YouTube. I mean, I decided to do this because I've helped so many men in real life deal with these issues, and getting finessed by women would be one of those issues. And I've had people look at me as some type of hypocrite, because at the same time I've hustled with women and gotten money. Women that are into anything, whereas they're trying to monetize themselves or whatever. I've given women lots of advice and counseling with areas like that. So then people say, "Oh, that's hypocritical because you'll help this woman hustle."
What is he even
guys,
saying? What does he
but
mean
then you're
by
supposedly helping guys. Well, I guess that's a judgment you're making from the outside. When you're in that position and you're looking at it as just people. If a dancer or a female bartender or whatever comes to me and I'm giving a game on how to finesse her clients and make more money and be more appealing, but then I would give the same advice to a guy coming to me saying, "Hey, I'm getting finessed by these ladies," I'm going to give them both the truth. I'm going to tell the girl, "Listen, this is the buttons to push to get what you're trying to get out of these guys." And I would say the same thing to the dude. "This is the buttons that you need to push, or the boxes you need to check to be attractive to women so that they're not finessing you and hustling you." Now, again, there's people that can't see that that's two completely different things, whatever. I don't really like this modern day where people think they got everybody figured out just from some content. But in any event, so I don't know if Andrew Tate is guilty. I just know that he's always been an extremely stand-up dude with me. Just this morning, I was talking to my ex-girlfriend about it because she sent me some meme or something, whatever, saying that he's like dying of leukemia. And the reason why that's of a conversation is because she met him. When we were together, there was a time I was with Tate and I was talking to her. I was like, "Yeah, I'm hanging out with Andrew Tate right now." She's like, "Oh, well, tell him I'm a fan, and next time he's in town, I'd like to meet him." So I told him what she said, and he said, "Well, wait a minute, where is she?" I said, "She's home." He said, "All right, come on, let's go." I said, "Let's go where?" He said, "Let's go home. Let's go to your condo." So I said, "All right." And I called her. I said, "Listen, just come downstairs. I'm pulling up." She said, "For what?" I said, "Listen, don't ask me any questions, woman. Just make your way downstairs." And he was extremely polite to her, an absolute gentleman. And she was saying that he made her feel so valuable and special. She would never expect someone of that caliber to treat her like she was somebody. She felt she's just a regular person. Now, that experience is not unique because every woman that I've seen Andrew Tate meet in person has had almost an identical response to him. So I always find it interesting when people who have never met him have such a negative depiction of him, but the people that met him have so much respect and admiration for him. So again,
let me just rephrase a little bit. Do you believe that he's an overall net positive or net negative?
Absolutely. Overall positive, absolutely. I think what young men do with the information that he's sharing, expounding, whatever you want to call it, I think that's up to them. People can have a misguided response to certain things that they have just become savvy to that are true and might affect them in a way. So I don't think Andrew Tate has a negative message at all. Would some people have a toxic run with it? Will some people interpret it that way? The first question I asked Andrew when I met him was, is this really you, or is this just a persona that you create to be polarizing? And he said, well, my friend, when you say things, you have to trigger people. If you want people to respond to what you're saying, and you want to get people's attention, yeah, you're gonna have to be polarizing, friend. So he basically admitted that he delivers things in that way to get people's attention.
Can I chime in?
Yeah,
let's wait. Can we just? Do you mind if Destiny goes and then you can chime in after that?
Yeah,
for sure.
I just want to make sure everyone gets like equal speaking.
Yeah, I don't. It's so bizarre to me that like if Andrew Tate is charged with being a scam artist, I don't know why somebody would say, well, everybody that's ever met him says he's really nice. Yeah, no shit, he's a scam artist. Like obviously, that's obviously the case. So like if he's charged with being a sex trafficker that's able of like seducing women, flying them across the world, and then luring them into a webcam business, and you're like, well, when my woman met him, she said, wow, he's so nice. I've ever treated like, well, yeah, no shit. That's his literal job is to seduce women, get them to work on the webcam business, and then steal their money from them. When we say that, like it's interesting that people have negative respect for him or don't respect him that don't know him personally, like in any other place. Like if I were to come up here and I would be like, you know what, I actually had a lot of conversation with Epstein and I was a really chill dude. Like I don't know why people judge him so much. You'd say, well, you're crazy. I don't care if you thought he was nice personally. That's a silly charge. Like he's been like convicted of well, he wasn't convicted. He's been charged with crimes and people think he's done like really horrible things. Why would I care about your personal opinion? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like. Well, and then,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, and then also just real quick, you say that like you teach women to hustle, like Tate was teaching women to hustle. Teaching people to hustle by showing them how to make them more attractive towards the opposite sex is different. The Tate brothers scammed men. Like they explicitly had their girls falsely tell men that they were going to meet them, get them to send a ton of money to these girls, constantly make excuses why they couldn't go to the embassy, why they couldn't get on the plane, and then keep milking these guys for even more and more and more money. They weren't just teaching the women to be hustlers, like be like good at their job or like be good businesswomen or be attractive. They were teaching them how to lie, cheat, steal, and scam their customers.
Okay, small clarification I think I just wanted to specify for the chat. So Andrew Tate was never charged with anything. He hasn't been charged yet. So there's going to be charges coming, but just technically he hasn't been charged yet. So just small clarification. All right, let's go to Allende's friend and Allende, and then get
Steffi over here. So I want to say two things, and I think it's a little naive to because somebody's nice and kind and show you a good time that makes them a good or a bad person. Any good person can do bad things and any bad person can be great and do great things. 1. 2, there's a lawyer that has dissected Andrew Tate's classes that he has for men, his webcamming that he does, which is obviously you have to pay for that to have access to that. So there's plenty of videos that you can find online, and one specifically that really, really will touch any woman's heart, where he's specifically calling women stupid and easy to manipulate, and he uses them, and he can teach young men and all men how to use them and get what they want from women, etc. And that's just a small piece of the many things he's trying to teach men. All right, so I think it's definitely...
Okay, is it my turn now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
I feel like you guys are getting some type of... idea that I was defending him. I was just asked what my opinion was on the guy.
I'm just educating you.
Hold on, Stephanie, let me go ahead and finish. You don't have to educate me because I really don't care. I've looked into these things myself. And that's not an Andrew Tate isolated thing. I really don't care about people that aren't like, in my life. Everybody's living their own life.
I think it's important to care.
Wait, let's let Allende talk because he's
So like I was saying, I never was defending him to begin with. That's number 1. Number 2, I knew that the obvious comeback Destiny would have would be like, well, he is a con artist. So there's a couple of things I want to address. So yeah, I mean, he could very well be a con artist, and he would have that skill set to some degree anyway. Just the nature of his history and his hustling, he would have to have that skill set. But of course, I looked at it as why the effort? Why the phone calls? Why the text messages? There's nothing that he could get from me. So I don't know what he would be conning me for. And any of the women that I've witnessed him around, there was nothing to con them for either. So yeah, I definitely understand what you guys are saying, but I'm just giving you my perspective. I don't see the incentive for him to be necessarily conning me. I'm not saying he's not a con man. I'm just saying you can't be like, oh, how could you be so naive? Well, first of all, there was, like I said, nothing to con me for. And then one more thing Destiny was saying about how he was directly scamming and manipulating guys or whatever. I never said that what I was doing with chicks was the same. I said that there is some layer to relatability. That's what I said. So I'm not gonna be taken out of context if it could be prevented. So yeah, I wasn't defending Andrew Tate. I was just giving my experiences with him, and I wasn't saying we're the same in how we dealt with women to get money.
I don't know why did you give that as an example then? That was just kind of weird.
Well, I clearly said that slightly I could relate, meaning I could relate to how you would help women finesse guys, and then also you would be trying to genuinely help men. Could be true at the same time.
Well, I mean, but isn't that like they're like totally different? That's like saying I can relate to a pedophile because I fuck women. They're just like 10 years older.
No,
like it's like a totally different thing, right?
It's not that, and I would never into that analogy, although it was entertaining. So what I am saying is, yes, two things can be true at the same time. You could be down, to hustle with a chick, if it involved somewhat taking advantage or misleading or misrepresenting a product or service to male customers. That's just the real world.
Well, that's not the real world. That's scamming.
Wait.
Hold up. Time out. I mean, every time you go to a bartender or whatever, and she's smiling and perking up her cleavage, she's not really interested, but she just wants to get some good tips. That's the real world.
No. That's different than a bartender.
Let me get to that, Destiny.
It takes a while. We'll go for
now, that's a degree. That's a degree of it. And if you turn that dial all the way up to the max, it could be her straight up lying to, stealing from, scamming, or conning, or whatever said customer, right? But I look at that as being on a scale, being on a spectrum. So yes, I could see how Andrew Tate's history is very questionable to people. Like I said, I wasn't there, so I'm only speaking on the times that I was there. If the simplest way of me saying it is I'm speaking about the times when I was present. I like to deal with those things. I don't necessarily want to dissect people through the screen and try to figure out what's true, what's false, what's right, what's wrong, who's a good person, bad person. I stick to kind of like in-person interactions, right? So I've seen a lot of clips of Destiny. I haven't really watched too much of his content, and I've always thought he was great at debating. But I would never sit here and try to like give someone my opinion on Destiny. You know what I'm saying? On his morals or anything.
Okay. You keep making this weird claim where it's like a woman learning how to hustle as a bartender where she's flirting with somebody is the same thing as like scamming somebody.
I never said it was the same. I said it's on a spectrum.
It's not on a spectrum. Hold on. No, you're just wrong.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You'll prove me wrong, but I'm just telling you how I see it, which doesn't have to be like how anyone else sees it. I see it as if this guy is choosing to tip this female bartender, he's choosing to keep going to this female bartender, there's something that he wants or likes more than just these drinks. And if she allows him to think any degree of that, there's some scam hustle in that. I'm sorry. If she's not
let's let Destiny respond because he's been waiting.
I'm losing my mind. Okay, scamming is not on a spectrum from flirting. These are fundamentally different things, okay? When we're being flirty or friendly to make people like us or to people for tipping us or whatever, that's fundamentally different than like actually misrepresenting your intentions in order to solicit funds from somebody. For the bartender to be on the spectrum of like what Tate's scamming business was doing, if a bartender is like, hey, listen, if you tip me a little bit more, maybe I'll come home with you tonight, like that would be on the spectrum of what Tate did. For a bartender to just be kind of like flirty and friendly with you, and then you like tip her more because you enjoy like being flirty or friendly, that's a fundamentally different thing. That's all I'm trying to say. We can't say that like, because when we start saying it's all on a spectrum, we're like justifying the worst types of behavior by conflating it with basic human interactions, which is silly.
I didn't justify anything. I don't even know what happened to justify or disagree with what happened. Like,
okay, I don't know if you understand. Okay, hold on, because this guy, I don't understand. It's like the most weaselly way of talking ever. When somebody says Tate did X thing that's really bad, and then you go, well, I do a thing that's kind of like that. I'm assuming that you're providing your character.
I see. This is why they say don't do anything with Destiny. Don't debate Destiny. Man, you're really good, man. You're great, awesome. But anyway, I was never saying that I did the same thing. I was saying that I could relate to people saying that this person couldn't possibly be helping men because he was definitely scamming men. That's what I was saying. That's the context of the comment that I made, because I've had people tell me that it's like, Allende, how are you trying to help men, but you're over here giving women game, as if it's some type of men versus women thing. You see what I mean?
I don't.
So,
all right.
I personally don't look at it that way. I don't look at it as if you help women, then somehow you're against men.
Guys.
And if you help men,
30 minutes.
or you speak for men, then you're against women. And I think people are grouping us like that. This is why, supposedly, if you care about male issues and you care about dealing with that content, somehow you grudge women. Well, just because a lot of guys are having issues with women does not mean addressing those issues is grudging women.
Okay, let me redirect this. Here's the heart of the disagreement. Destiny thinks that Andrew Tate is net negative. You, Allende, think he's a net positive. That's the actual disagreement. That's the thing more interesting to discuss.
Oh, hold on, Alex, real quick. Let's clarify, because I think that's two different things. Are we saying Andrew Tate as a person is a bad person or negative?
No, as a
hold on. The way I understood the question the first time you asked it was, do I think this person's influence is doing more good or bad?
Yeah,
is it
more
helpful or harmful? That's the question I was addressing.
Yes.
That's when I said, in my opinion, his content is positive and helpful for young men, or men of all ages, actually. Now, Andrew Tate as a person, as a human being, I'm not defending any of that.
No, I understand.
I'm not defending any of that, okay? So I've not been comfortable with that. I don't care if a woman, well, women have asked me to pimp them. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that.
No, we get it, Andy. We're not talking about him as like a human being. We're talking about his influence on the world. So let's go to either Destiny or one of the lovely ladies there with Allende. I'm sure they've been waiting for a while. Whoever wants to go next can go.
I think X was
me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so am I answering this question on whether his influence is good or not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know him as a person, but based off of the classes and the things he's admitted on other podcasts, it's got to be a big no for me. Yeah, so sorry. He's admitted to beating women. He's admitted to getting away with a lot of harassment. And that's just not a good influence, especially if you're supposedly the leader of like men, you know? So.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's let Destiny also speak, because you've been waiting for moons.
Well, I mean, I think I said as much. Like, there's enough out there to like see that he's like a full-on sex trafficker. I think his views of women are pretty abhorrent, even though he hides behind euphemisms sometimes. Like, yeah, it's cool that there's a guy that's saying like do better and work out at the gym, I guess, but like, I don't think that some of the positive messaging he has makes up for the overwhelming amount of negativity that's come from him and the overwhelmingly negative messages that men get in regards to relationships and women because of him. So that's a big no for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hitler, you know, like he was like a great leader, but like personally, he was kind of toxic.
I don't think Andrew Tate is Hitler, but okay.
Like as a person,
I don't know if Andrew Tate has ever murdered 7 million Jews. Okay, let's go back to Allende and.
Do you have something on this?
I mean, overall, I think that. Hi guys, I'm the co-host King / SB from Intuition. What's up, Destiny? Yeah, so overall, guys, I really do think that he's a net positive for men. At least for me and all the men that I hang around, they love Andrew Tate. I do agree that some of his personal things that he's done are not looking good. I want to wait to see what happens. I don't want to make any judgment. I mean, obviously, we've seen some of the videos of the pimping and whatever it was, but I want to wait to see what happens with the case in Romania. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to discredit what he's done for me and I think for men, but I think before we start throwing out, you know, he's this terrible person or whatever completely, we really need to see both sides and see how this case goes.
That's a fair point, but we're talking about his net influence on people. We're not talking about his like the case and whether.
Yeah, but his net influence will be determined what happens with this case. Don't you think after what happens, more men will probably be like, damn, he did it, and they're probably not going to follow him anymore, and then there'll be guys like, I don't care. So I think you guys are misconstruing the. Yes, I get what you're saying, but after whatever happens, there's going to be more people that either like him or hate him.
Okay, you feel that they're related. I understand. That's a fair point.
Well, see,
it is related.
Alex, two things I'm picking up on. I don't know if I'm the only person that feels this way, but I feel like we're not sure which one we're talking about. Are we talking about him personally, or are we talking about his influence. I know we just said that.
His influence.
I feel like we're talking a lot about him personally,
Or the
and not more about.
I know, that's what I keep pointing out. We're talking about his influence.
Okay. Then the next thing that I want to say about his influence, if we're focusing on that, I think there is an aspect that needs to be taken into consideration, and that's which people gravitate towards. Because I'm well aware that there's a possibility that something or someone can be giving out a variety of things, and you will take what appeals to you. So, I mean, me as a content creator, one minute I could be talking about fitness, one minute I could be talking about self-improvement, the next minute I could be talking about networking, the next minute I could be talking about like negative issues between the male and female gender dynamic. And the audience is not going to pick up equally on those different topics. Some people might be like, yo, I tune into him for this fitness stuff. And then some people be like, yo, I tune into him for this dating stuff. Some people are like, yo, I tune into him for this networking stuff. So maybe one of those areas is kind of negative or it's toxic. I'm not saying me personally, but just say hypothetically, one of those areas is actually a negative influence. There are going to be certain people that gravitate towards that though, and they're supporting me on that. And they don't care what you say about me. You know, they're influenced by that toxic content I'm putting out. Whereas there could be other groups of people that are like, yeah, I gravitate more and identify more to this content, which actually is positive. So I think Andrew Tate is just a very there's a lot of things going on with Andrew Tate, man. I think that's what makes him so polarizing, is that there's so many different layers. There's some women that would hate his guts, and then there'll be women that love him. Like, I've literally got laid because of Andrew Tate. There's women that I've met, and it's like at first they weren't really too interested. And they'd be like, why is Andrew Tate following you? And now it's like, oh, I gotta see you. We gotta hang out. And it's like, what the heck?
All right, let's kick it back.
Wait, hold on. I just gotta dispel this myth real quick. So a couple things. One, people will follow you holistically. If I get a lot of people that follow me for one thing and I start preaching about a totally different thing, people don't generally segregate off sections of their heroes. They'll start to pick up on more traits. So I don't believe that anybody follows Andrew Tate for like one particular thing. Eventually you're bought into the character. And the reason why I feel this way is to number two, because Andrew Tate is a really shitty person if you ignore the whole like Matrix narrator stuff, and he doesn't really give much good advice at all. He doesn't give you good like workout tips or gym advice. He's horrible as a gym influencer. He doesn't really give you good financial or like actual business success advice. He's like pretty horrible when it comes to financial advice. When you're buying into Andrew Tate, you're buying into the whole picture of like the guy who's got the Bugattis and he fights the Matrix. That's what you're really buying into. There's not a single man that follows Andrew Tate for his lifting tips. That just doesn't exist. So I don't buy this whole like, oh no, they just follow Andrew Tate for this one particular thing. They're buying into the person. They're buying into the story of Andrew Tate.
I guess I could be wrong. I'm a very unique person. I think very, very differently from most people. And for me, I never had any interest in his courses. I mean, I could have gotten the course for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, he mentioned it to me one time, and I was like, yeah. Like, I've never even checked it out. I have no idea. I don't know what's on page 1.
Well, then what are you drawn to about him, though?
I don't even know what the course is called. And honestly, I haven't watched a lot of Andrew Tate content. I've seen a ton of his clips because, you know, clips are everywhere. That's the content these days. So if I'm being honest, I haven't really consumed a lot of Andrew Tate content.
Well, sure. Then this wouldn't even apply to you, then, right? It would just
hold on. Just hold on. What I'm trying to say. And those kind of
these guys talk so much without saying anything. It's actually driving me fucking insane. Oh my god.
Out with him, and people that I have met, I've met a lot of people who have never engaged in that particular content. That's like, yeah, I used to, you know, hustle pimp these women, and I did this like this, and you can get money doing this and do it. Like anything that we could be considered scamming. I know plenty of people that particular aspect of Andrew Tate, they have no interest in. So that's why I'm saying, like, from my side, I see it as overall positive, and maybe that's just the conversations that I've had with people. I don't deal too much online with like talking to strangers. So the people I've talked to in person, they tend to focus on other aspects of Andrew Tate's influence that I think are mostly positive.
Okay, so, can I ask?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just kind of curious because I live obviously in my own bubble. We all have our own little bubbles that we live in. For the 3 women here, let's say that you've got girlfriends that talk to you about guys that they see on dates or whatever. Do you think they would be excited to find out that the guy they're seeing is a big Andrew Tate fan, or would that be a red flag?
Red flag.
The biggest red flag of life. I'm so sorry.
Okay, did the third girl answer?
I think that's really problematic too.
No, my friends don't like him. But I actually just the other day saw a clip that he was like, a guy should like pay for the date, and it's like if you like ask a woman to like help you pay for it, it's like the least masculine thing. And I honestly enjoyed like that little soundbite.
That's like one thing I disagree with him on.
Okay, so I just, that's interesting you say that, because in my opinion, Andrew Tate doesn't even give good dating or hookup advice in general. And every woman that I've ever had email me, and I didn't know if this was just my bubble or if it was for you too, I've had a lot of women email me who are like fucking petrified. They're like, I don't know if the guy, I was on a date and he mentioned something about high value men, and now I'm really paranoid that he's like into the whole like red pill Andrew Tate community, and now I don't know. Like, I have a lot of girls tell me that, but I don't know if that's just my community or if that's like a thing with women in general. So I was curious if you guys had the same experience.
Hold on. That's a thing with women in general, and I think it's extremely problematic. And the reason why is not because people can't have their own opinions, but it's a problem. They think their own opinions are others' opinions. And what irritates me about women's take on Andrew Tate or the red pill or anything that's male dominated is that it almost always is understudied. They have no experience with it. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't actually watch Andrew Tate content. They just watch clips that were actually edited and put out by people who don't like an Andrew Tate. And then they act like they can judge a man's 2-hour video based on a 1-minute clip. And that's not an Andrew Tate isolated thing, which is why it irritates me so much. It's not even about Andrew Tate. It's about women in general thinking they know about a whole genre, like a whole environment, based on some little clips here and there.
Yeah, but wait, isn't that literally what you just said you did?
Hold on. No, I said that I judge him based on meeting him in real life.
Yeah, but then why are you even giving an opinion on this when you don't even know what his content's like? Because you haven't consumed any of his content. You yourself said it was only clips. So your personal opinion of it has nothing to do about the advice.
I love what you're doing. This is a great exercise. I prefaced that several times, man. You're really good.
Yeah, but then why are you entering an opinion here? You have no opinion on this.
No, you can't say that to me. You can't say that to me. That's disingenuous, because I made it clear coming in that I'm not that familiar with the man's situation presently, and I'm not that familiar with his content, but I will tell you my experience with him personally. But you almost got me.
Let me ask a clarifying question then. So is your statement that I think he's a net positive based on your personal experiences with him, or is it all based on like what you've consumed?
Yeah, that I just think it's of the kind of feedback that I've seen from young men.
I'm going crazy. I gotta leave. I can't be here much longer. I'm gonna lose it. I don't want to lose it.
You know, interact with the guys.
The girls are keeping me sane. Okay.
Course. Sorry, I don't know what it's called.
Shit.
I haven't spoken to those guys, but his course is doing great. So there must be a lot of guys that are influenced by that particular content.
Let me ask a quick question, or just make a quick statement. I think that Andrew Tate's influence overall is good. However, all the things that are coming out are bad. I don't think anybody who's following Andrew Tate is ever going to run a cam business. We're almost assuming like the people are somehow going to follow his footsteps completely. It's like, yes, we found out he may have done some scumbag things, but if the overall net positive is more guys get in the gym, more guys are trying to figure out how to deal with women, even if they don't try to act like Andrew Tate exactly, I'm not seeing how he's a bad overall net bad positive as influence. So overall negative bad person, that could be but I mean,
why do they always take so much time to restate the same thing over and over and over and over again? They keep restating the same opinion. They don't say anything new. Why do they do this?
who don't have someone personally in their life.
Wait, can we let Destiny respond to the point that...
okay, hold on. So the issue isn't that, like, it's just this engagement is so silly. That, like, oh, people just watch Andrew Tate and then they go to the gym more. That's not true. You're picking up a lifestyle. You're picking up a whole frame of the world from Andrew Tate. You're picking up the whole... I don't care what... Okay, if you haven't watched his content, I don't know why you're entering an opinion on this.
Like I said, I got to agree with him. I don't see these guys driving Bugattis and having a harem.
No one is... That's like the most level 1 engagement ever with the subject matter.
All right, so Destiny...
Well, let me finish answering the question. The reality is that when people watch Andrew Tate, they get a view of the world. And one of those views, particularly when we talk about like dating stuff, is you get a highly adversarial view of men versus women, in my opinion. And I think that this echoes and reverberates throughout all of the red pill content. Is how do you get one over on women? How do you get women to do what you want them to do? How do you make them submissive and trainable? And why is it better when they're young so they haven't as much dick in them so they're not traumatized? And how, like, all of these statements are usually highly adversarial towards women. And even if a guy is not running a cam business, I still think he can pick up those general types of attitudes, and then that's going to resonate with him, and then it's going to reflect in the way that he treats women in his life.
Destiny, to be fair, all that existed before Andrew Tate ever came out.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, and anti-Semitism existed before Hitler came about. It doesn't mean I can't like say he does a bad job with it. What do you mean?
Let's let Ariane respond.
Not only did that already exist, but the female content that's been coming out, just because it's not dominated by one person that was as popular as Andrew Tate, because we're only having this conversation not because of the things he said necessarily, but because he was able to geniusly figure out how to make himself that notorious. He was able to break the algorithm and be the most Googled man. That's why we're having this discussion. But all these ideas have already existed collectively. Maybe these things were already said collectively by multiple different people. Now we have a boogeyman to put it all on. Now we got someone with a name on the back of his jersey to say this is the Michael Jordan of this ideology.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if he's saying negative things, and they're even if they're already out there.
Hold on. Let me
just real quick. When we're doing these things, can we not give like 15 like restatements of the same thing we're saying? Because it's like 12 minutes to say like just 30 seconds of stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's what I was doing. But anyhow,
oh, dude, I'm not gonna be able to hold it in. I gotta go to the gym. I'm losing my mind here, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm losing it, guys.
Oh, okay. So not only was these things already being said, but
he's going to restate it. It was already being said, and now it's
out prior to this was very combative to men. It was very men versus women, coming from women. So that's what guys are responding to. So ultimately, what I'm saying is the reason why there is even a market.
And now he's restating the point about the fact that men had negative shit from women, and now they're going to make negative shit.
You can't say you don't already know that, Destiny. So maybe.
And now he's going to restate it again. Why is he doing it again? Does he need to do it again?
Young men today are screaming for some messiah to come and defend them against this sex war, this gender war that
by women
that have without Andrew Tate. Men and women are already being pitched against each other in every form of media.
Okay.
Let's let Destiny respond to that.
Okay, all you're telling me is women were mean to men in their content, which, by the way, I agree with. Women that were adversarial towards men. I'm not going to argue with that. But then you're saying, well, because the women were mean, Andrew Tate came, and now we're going to be mean to the women. That doesn't further the conversation. Let me finish my point. Oh my God, you ramble for like 12 minutes. Let me finish my point, okay? What you've essentially said is that Andrew Tate is existing as a reaction to the negative content that women put out about men. If you want to react to that content and do something positive, then what you do is you say, this is what women said that was adversarial towards men. I don't believe that these relationships need to be adversarial. Let's have a better conversation about it. You don't come out and say, well, those women said men. Well, guess what? I'm here to say women. That's exactly what Andrew Tate is, and I think that's the problem.
Okay.
And he has the right to make whatever type of content he makes.
No one is arguing about who has the right to make the type of what type of content. What are we even responding to?
If that's your take on whatever issues are going on between men and women, that's your take, Destiny. If he wants to speak about it from that perspective, if that's the character that he wants to create to get the attention of men and rally them, that's his choice. I'm not going to sit here and say it was good or bad.
You can't say if things are good or bad?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is...
Why not? Why not take a position on it? Like, have a backbone and take a position on it. It's good or bad.
I already did. You disagree with it. I think that it's overall good.
Then you think it's good. Then why'd you say I'm not saying if it's good or bad?
Hold on. I think that it's good for men to think about these issues. Okay?
I'm dying, dude.
Maybe I'm wrong as far as is it more negative or more positive. I don't know. I'm not out there calibrating it, Destiny. I'm sorry. Apparently, you put a lot more thought into it than I have. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm so, current on these issues. I don't fucking know. I just told you I don't even know the name of the man's course, but I know he's had it for a really long time.
You don't even know who Andrew Tate is. You don't know who that is.
No, it's not that I don't know who Andrew Tate is. It's that
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that content, much like I'm not familiar with anyone. I don't know the name of Alex's course. I'm sure you have a course, Alex.
Then why do you have strong opinions on whether his content is good or bad?
Hold on. I never said I had strong opinions.
You just said it was net good.
Alex.
It sounded a little strong.
Alex.
One at a time. What's up?
Alex, you have a course, right?
Yeah, I do have a course.
Okay, I've been to your home multiple times, right?
Yeah, multiple times.
I know you personally.
Yeah,
sounds like you don't.
But here's the thing.
I went there my boy.
Hold on, but hold on. Here's the thing, though, Alex. I don't know the name of your course.
Okay, that's okay.
Drop the course, Alex. What's the course?
No, I don't want to go off a side tangent. I think some of the girls have shit to say, so let's let the girls talk a little bit. Sorry, I don't know you guys' names.
My daughter has something to say in the beanie, and I'm gonna.
No, I was gonna record you while you talk.
Oh, no, you wanted to talk.
All right, ladies, we gotta talk if we're gonna talk. Otherwise, you ready? Anybody have an opinion?
All right, I'll go first. So, to go back to how this whole tangent started, about how the question was, if our girlfriends say that they hear something about high value men, it's a red flag. You have to understand that somebody who's actually had to have that conversation with Fresh and Fit, that podcast, when they say high value men, they push the motive or the narrative that if you make a lot of fucking money, if you give a lot of value to yourself, when you have your girl, you can do whatever you want. You can cheat. It literally doesn't matter. You're a man. You're supposed to be doing these things. But as long as you give yourself value, you can get the girl you want. When it's like, women don't even care. Like, we could be homeless
Can you play
together.
Alice theme?
As
True.
long as I got you, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like all these dudes, all these red pill dudes or whatever it is, like y'all are trying to teach men how to talk to women, how to get women, how to treat them, how to do all this stuff, and you have it all wrong. And the women that you're actually catering to are the women that are going to use you for your money, are the women that are going to use you for materialism. Let me finish talking.
Because you said you guys.
Yes.
When have I ever said any of these things you're saying?
Wait, let her finish. She was on some true shit there.
I'm not fresh and fed.
Why are you yelling at me when I'm
Because
counteracting what
she's
she
talking
said?
about another
That's
podcast
what we're
and then
talking
you guys
about.
are saying you guys.
But it has
talking
to
about
do.
guys.
It has to do with what they asked.
No, you can't say you guys. So just be clear. If you're talking about that podcast, keep it on that podcast. I never said that.
I said red pill dudes,
I'm not a red
people,
pill dude,
whatever
so
the hell
don't
it
say-
is.
Just let me respond.
Why we brought this up was because you stated that seeing a man say something about high value men
women
isn't a red flag, and you're saying that seeing that as a red flag is toxic. That's how.
Okay,
it
go
was brought up.
ahead and finish your point so we can go around.
Yeah, no, it is very alarming for us women. We do not like it. We're not fans of it. Majority of women. I'm a woman. I know many women, and it's a negative for us. That's pretty much it.
Sorry, what's her name again?
It's always when a woman says she's a feminist, or she went to this particular college, or she holds the same views as. So come on.
What does that have to do with
all I'm
anything?
saying is it goes both ways. It has
It's
to do with-
the
hold on. The comment initially was
Kill me,
that
kill me,
when
kill me, kill me, kill me.
high-value
Kill me, kill me,
men
kill me,
is
kill me.
mentioned, women
Melly
start to
Mel.
become concerned. Is the guy that I'm
It's-
talking to consuming this red pill content? So all I'm saying, guys.
Oh
is
shit.
this is why
Okay.
we-
Sorry, I'm like freaking out. My
When
bad.
guys- hold on. Just let me
I didn't know you were over here. My bad.
Just clarifying this. When guys are on dates and they're meeting girls,
Oh my
and
God, I'm
girls
losing
say
my
they
mind.
watch certain
Kill me.
shows and consume certain content, it's the same type of red flag for us. So just so we're clear on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's let.
I think just on the for what she said, and this is like it's the truest thing in the world. Like if you were trying to help a guy get laid, or if you were trying to help a guy like pick up women, or more importantly, if you were trying to help a guy get in a good healthy relationship, like red pillars give the worst advice in the world. That like ultra masculine shit only works if you're like a top 1% dude and you've got so many other bases covered. Otherwise, there's no way that you could get away with treating women like some of these guys tell you can. And even in those cases, you can't get away with treating women like these guys tell you can. The like highly successful men can juggle 5 women at once and they'll be happy for it, or that if you cheat on your woman, it makes her more competitive with other women. Like these are like insane pieces of advice. I feel like men have to go to therapy to unlearn shit that they would learn from red pillars if they ever want to have a shot at a successful relationship.
I kind of agree with you.
I agree with you totally, and that's why I'm not red pill. I've said that exactly so many times that this shit right here would never work for the average guy. In fact, it'll probably get your ass locked up. So that's why I'm making it clear. Don't say you guys, because that's why I said it's problematic that women think when they hear these terms, they know these guys. I know this content. Oh my God, he thinks like that. First of all, they don't know or understand that content. They think they do. They're on the outside getting upset because they don't like what they hear, but they're not actually listening or understanding where it's coming from or what it means. That within itself is problematic. The next thing is they're misassociating men with it. They're thinking, that guy's red pill. He's been, and no, he's really not. You're not differentiating it. Just like, hold on. Just like people would mix up all black people and put them in a group. They'll put all Asians in a group. There's many times.
Oh my God.
If someone is
That's
from
irrelevant.
Ethiopia, if someone's from Ethiopia, don't call them African, because in their mind they're not African. They're Ethiopian. But groups from the outside look at them all as the same.
Wait,
Right?
okay,
So
wait.
that's-
I'm just curious. What's a piece of advice you think women misinterpret from the red pill?
I don't think it's the advice. It's just the nature of it, the tone of
What's
it. where
one
it's
thing? Just like what's one thing they misinterpret?
It's not one thing. They all.
What's
encompass
anything?
it. I'm telling you, Destiny, stop cutting me off. They think it's all hatred for women. They
Okay,
think
so
it's all-
so what's a piece that they think is hatred that's not?
Destiny, let me finish.
He's not saying. He doesn't say anything ever. It's like driving me crazy. Holy shit.
No, I'm saying everything. Right? You're good at what you do, bro. I'm gonna keep giving that.
I'm
to
good
you.
because I give examples of what I'm talking about instead of speaking these
And I'm
empty
giving
platitudes.
examples.
You're not giving me a
Look,
single example of anything.
I'm giving an example right now. They think that everything in the red pill is negative to women. It's volatile to women. It's harmful to women. That's what they think and believe, and that's not the case. Now, I'm not red pill, but I understand all the talking points. I understand where it's coming from. Just because I am not a simp or I can't relate to the simp, I can understand where they're coming from. Just because I don't live that life or have those experiences with women, I 100% understand where it's coming from, because I have spoken to a lot of women, I have spoken to a lot of guys, and I've been the guy that the woman is being honest with and telling me how these guys get treated. So I can understand.
Okay, do you think it's a negative?
Eventually, those guys are going to form their own kind of reaction.
Restate the main point without saying anything new. Okay. If a woman were to give specific examples of things that red pillars say, so for instance, guys should always be going for lower women body counts, like lower age women, because they have less trauma. Does that sound like an insulting thing to say to women, or does that sound like a positive thing to say for women?
I think it's neither negative or positive. You're looking for the connotation. I'm looking for the truth of it. How accurate is that? And there's no studies that disprove that.
It's insulting as fuck.
Why would it be insulting? Hold on. Why would that?
Because you're basically telling men that, like, once a woman is past, like, okay, sure, yeah, go for it.
Why? Because we grow and we experience things and shit happens, and we all, it's just a part of growing. So what you're saying is the moment a woman hits 28 or 30 years old, oh, she's too damaged. And it's like, first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, you're generalizing. And third of all, yeah, people get damaged. Men are damaged. Everybody's damaged. That's the problem with that. And it is insulting. It's very insulting.
It's really not insulting. Someone just chooses looking at it and insulting. If you don't want to deal with certain issues with a woman, and the women that are of a certain age that have had certain experiences tend to have this mood, and you don't want to deal with that mood, and someone's saying to you, hey bro, you could just go younger, you could just get girls that haven't had those experiences yet. And listen, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my honest opinion. I believe that those negative experiences are mostly the fault of whatever toxic guy gave her those experiences. She fell for that guy, she liked that guy, and what he chose to do with her infatuation, her interest, was hurtful and harmful to her. That's very unfortunate. However, the guys that she dates after that are going to have to deal with that trauma. So when guys are saying that, they're simply saying, because they're not catering to your feelings, they're catering to the guy that's like, what should I do? She's like 30, bro. And guys are just saying, hey, bro, at that age, the amount of guys she's dated, the amount of time she's been broken up with, the amount of time she's been cheated on, she's not going to be the same as prior to those experiences, and you're going to have to deal with that baggage. Can you handle it?
Okay, to everybody outside of the little, very narrow red pill sphere, what that sounds like is you want a younger woman so you can take advantage of her. You don't want to fuck with a woman. You don't want to with a woman who's 25 or 30 because she knows better. She'll be onto your shit, and you're not going to be able to get away with as much dumb shit. Whereas with a 19 or 20-year-old, you can say the most retarded shit, and they'll go along with it because they don't know better.
Exactly. That was excellent what you just did, Destiny. And I'm going to go ahead and say, although I agree with that, the point I was trying to make is if you are the next guy and you're not toxic, you're not an asshole, you're not going to hurt her and do all those things, you still have to deal with a woman that has already had those things done to her.
Yeah. Then do you think he's got to restate the same thing 4 different ways?
Go ahead and quickly clarify. What they want. I'm going to go ahead and trigger ears. I'm going to go ahead and offend ears since it's so offensive. The analogy that guys would use with no emotions and no feelings is it's like someone buying a used car that's been in accidents before and saying, I'm a better driver than the past drivers that had wrecked that car. I'm not going to wreck the car. I drive safely. However, cars has already been in wrecks. So if you buy that car, you're taking on those wrecks. Sorry. Okay.
Wait, I got a question. Wait, on that. That's so important, okay? Because my question then is would you apply it the other way around? That women should all be looking for men that haven't been in relationships before? That men that haven't been hurt before?
No, because unfortunately, Destiny, men and women aren't the same.
Okay,
so
and then just
you have to come from the paradigm that life experiences affect men and women the same, which they don't.
Okay, and so again,
men having experiences would actually make them a better mate, a better husband.
That is just so not true. Like, just so you know, the entire red pill space to everybody outside of it reeks of who hurt you, boo. That's what it sounds like to every other person outside of the space. But it's because of exactly what you're saying, right? When you're like 29, you're like, these fucking women, they divorce men, they take all their shit, and all of them have baggage and they're horrible, and I need a good 19-year-old. Everybody from the outside looks at everybody from the outside looks in and they go, wow, these men are hurting because they've been fucked around by a girl before. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly. I agree 100%, which is why I came into this space with the idea of bringing women in so that they can say their side. Because from the outside looking in, when you have these conversations, absence of women, that's what it sounds like to like 90% of other people, which is why I agree with you 100%, Destiny, that it sounds like bad advice to give to men, because I actually do well with women. So when I'm with women and I'm listening to that content, they always have that response to it, although they don't have that response to me. but they have that response to the content. So I know they hate it. The difference is I still press play. I still listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't want to hear it, they can go take a walk. They can do whatever and come back when I'm done. So I'm not.
I don't know what this guy agrees
any of those things. I know how it sounds to other people. Unfortunately, that's not what it is to the people who are saying this and feeling this way. So it's easy for you to say that. Have you been divorced? Have you had your property taken before, Destiny?
What divorce and property taken is a very small minority of marriages. Why would you even use this as standard dating advice?
He can relate to that,
what is your? Yeah, what is your?
Wow.
Wait, have you been divorced? Has your stuff been taken?
Yes.
Yes.
So okay, hold on. So then, to be clear, you're exactly the same as like when was it Kevin Samuels, when the woman comes on and the guy's like, "Are you a single mom?" and she's like, "Yeah." You're the male version of that, basically.
No, not really. Because here the thing is, I don't hold a grudge for it. Though.
Really?
I'm not upset about it. What I'm saying is that I was aware that it could happen before it happened to me, and I thought, not me. That would never be me. I'm not like these lame guys. I'm not a cuck. I'm not weak, but it did still happen. So with that being said, you know why it happened? Because that's how the law is designed. So these are the type of issues that these guys are tackling. So to other people, it sounds like you should have chose a different wife. But to the
I bet he's lying about how much got stolen. Actually,
like the laws aren't fair.
I bet that's not even the case.
Disconnect is, Destiny, and we need to agree that there is a disconnect. Now I'm asking you a question you haven't answered. Have you been divorced before?
Yep, I got divorced from my first wife.
Okay, did you lose property in that divorce?
Nope.
Okay, so you can't relate to that aspect. Did you have children with her that you have to have some type of joint custody, or you don't have
I have an ex-girlfriend that I have a child with that we have shared custody of, yes.
Okay, but so you have shared custody?
Yes.
Okay, so you can't relate to the guys who don't have custody.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just saying that those people, they relate to that type of content because...
That type of content where they hate women because they've had a bad experience with one? Is that the point you're trying to make?
I mean, if you get from it that they hate women, I get from it
I do get from it that they hate women. That's what it feels like to me, yeah.
And that's fine. That's fair. But what I get from it, and what a lot of people who might agree with those talking points of that content get from it, is that I hate having that happen to me. It's not that I hate women, it's that I hate having that happen to me. Like, for example, we have a whole passport bros movement. Now, I'm not a passport bro, but I've traveled a lot, and I started traveling at a young age. So I can relate to them and why they would want to do that, because experiencing foreign women is nothing new to me. So if men are willing to move to a whole nother country to possibly have the type of relationship dynamic that they want with someone that agrees with that relationship dynamic, doesn't strike me as someone that
to take advantage of somebody that's poor and doesn't know any better, and you're like a foreign person. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just let me finish, because again, you see how that's the take that other people have from it. That's the take that the people that aren't doing it have. So
no, that's just like that's the obvious take. I've traveled a lot too. Oh God, you got to make it get to the point faster. Holy shit, I'm losing my mind.
I am getting to the point. So there's guys that they travel. And like, for example, when I travel to these countries, I'm dating women that speak perfect English. They have degrees. They like work for the government. They might be dentists. They might be doctors, lawyers. They drive Maseratis, all kind of. So I'm not going to take advantage of the social economics. I'm not going to take advantage of a woman that doesn't know English. I'm not taking advantage of a woman that's mentally weak. So all I'm saying is we're grouping all these guys into one category, when in all actuality, the guys that are traveling for that type of dynamic are actually in the minority. Most of these guys just want a girlfriend that's going to be like, nice to them. They're not trying to dominate or control them. They're literally just trying to be nice. And the interesting part is a lot of those women in those countries actually desire American and Western men because they're way more lax than the men they already have. The American men don't mind them working. The American men don't mind them being independent and doing all these things because we're from a country where we're already used to that. The difference is in our country, the women do not submit. They're not overly feminine. They're not overly cooperative. And they're not like loving and affectionate. That's what most guys are experiencing.
Well, some of them are.
People
are for affection, and that's
God,
what they
it's
want.
like never ending. This
right?
is
So it's not that they hate women. It's that they hate the experiences they have with women. In this
they want to date a child, basically, right? This is the biggest cope I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, I think if you could have one statement from a guy that is the biggest red flag ever, it's a guy that says, "I really want a good wife from Eastern Europe." And the idea that you would say, "Oh no, you go to Eastern Europe to find like doctors and lawyers," that's not the average woman that you're finding when you go to an Eastern European country. You're not going to fucking Romania or Ukraine to pick up a fucking doctor or a lawyer woman that's driving around in a McLaren.
Be old too.
See,
let me step in real quick. Okay, because this is interesting because there's some things I agree with Allende on, some things I agree with Destiny on. But right now, Destiny, in my opinion, you're making a straw man argument, okay? That's all about like finding a woman who's like impressionable. That's not what Allende's saying. He's saying, hey, there are women that are more feminine, more traditional, And that's what I'm personally looking for in a wife. Whether that's right or wrong is a different thing, but that's what I want. I want a woman. It's not about I want like an 18-year-old girl who I can manipulate. That's not what you're saying.
I think it's you're looking for. I know what they're saying, but the reality of how it plays out for anybody that's been involved, like actually in these scenes, and not how they romanticize it in the red pill community. And as somebody that's gone to other countries and my way through a lot of countries, if you're an American guy in a lot of these countries, you have a lot of clout immediately because you're exotic, because they think you have money. That's why. It's not because they're looking like, oh, I love your American Western values man that you have because you're blah blah blah. It's because like, holy shit, you're probably loaded, and it would be sick to go to the United States or travel with you. That's what women are attracted to. But the reason why you can do that is because you're flexing the fact that you can travel internationally. Of course.
Exactly. It's an instant hike in status that leads to attraction, and that's what they want. They want a woman that actually likes them and wants to be with them. Now, even if, worst case scenario, she's just with you for, I don't know, citizenship like they claim, although most of these women do not want to leave this country, either way, they feel that it's a better deal. Just like women are going to be selective about the guys that they marry because they want a better deal. Well, that's what guys are doing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It takes like 10 minutes to respond to everything, Alex. You got to make him go quicker because he's making like 50 fucking points, and now he's going to make like 7 more.
Right. Sorry that I got a lot of points.
Well, no, it's not. It's that you don't want me to respond to anything because you know how stupid everything you're saying is. It's like it's just annoying because you're gonna go like walk on like 15 more points.
Like I was saying earlier, I personally, my style, right, is I like to deal with things more that I have personal experience with. So even with the whole quote unquote traveling for women thing, all the guys that I've advised to travel for women are doing a combination of like only 3 things. They're either going out there to date casually beautiful women that they feel they have a better experience with, and the whole dating scene there is cheaper, more affordable. You can do more for your money. So there's that aspect of it. Then there's the guys that are out there like, you know, genuinely dating and trying to like find someone to be with and maybe a whole culture change and live there. And then there's the guys that are already married to a foreign woman. And in none of those, and in none of those
he's got to make 4 more points, Alex.
It's the guy taking advantage. It's the same fucking point. In none of those examples,
why say it again?
Taking advantage of the woman. They're actually both very, very happy and feel they have an advantage with this other person for different reasons. The guy feels like he has a more feminine, cooperative foreign woman that shares the values that he shares, and the woman feels like she has a guy that isn't going to necessarily take advantage of the fact that he has more status than her in that particular environment, whereas their men might be a hell of a lot more controlling and unreasonable.
Okay, yeah.
So it works for both. They're both fucking happy. I don't see why there's such a problem.
Okay, when you go after like
real quick. I'm gonna institute a new rule because Destiny said that he doesn't have much time. So we're gonna go to more lightning rounds where basically every person has 30 seconds to respond to the other person.
Thank fucking God.
We're limited on time. Okay, good.
Okay, when you're
gonna head out, guys. Thank you so much, Destiny. You're awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, have fun. When you're going to these Eastern European women, what is like the average age of a woman you're hitting on? Like,
well, I don't go to Eastern Europe, but I don't know any guys that are there dealing with underage women. These guys are dealing with grown women.
Okay, when you're going to Dubai or wherever you go, you just said that you travel internationally, South America. I don't know. When you're trying to pick up women, like, what is the average age of these women?
21, or well, not even 21. It wouldn't even be 21 to be honest with you. But maybe the youngest for me, and I'm not a young guy, so maybe the youngest for me might be 24, 25.
Okay, then do you understand that you lied earlier when you said that you fuck with doctors and lawyers because they're not 21 or 24 or 25. These are people.
No, I'm not Destiny. And I love how you do what you do, bro. I didn't say that. I said the youngest. The youngest. So the average age of the women I deal with is late 20s. The average. I said the youngest would be 24, 25.
I haven't seen your content, but I don't believe that you suggest that guys go overseas to find 30-year-old women in these countries. I don't believe you. Not even for a micro. I don't even think you believe yourself.
Hold on. No. I said me personally. I think the guys that are traveling are dealing with very, very early 20s. I think they're probably dealing with 19, 20, 21. But how old are these guys, though? These guys are 25, 26. That's the age group I would recommend.
Your guys are 25 years old traveling internationally? Are all of your clients like super wealthy?
No, I said if guys were. I said what age are the guys we're talking about? The first guy that I sent to Mexico, the first guy that I sent to Mexico was 54. The woman he married was 15 years younger than him. So subtract 15 from 54. That's how old he was. So in his case, yes, he did go there for a woman in their 30s, right? But there are other guys that would be 30, 35, and they would be dealing with women that are 25, 26. So I don't see an age disparity because that's the same age disparity that I see in attraction in the States. There are 26-year-old girls here that are dating guys 35, 36, 37. So I don't see.
He's got to do 4 more points, Alex.
Okay, let me just quickly pose a question to Destiny because I think there's some miscommunication going on. So, Destiny, if a guy travels to South America because he's into Latina girls, he meets a Latina who's 22, 23-year-old who's really into him, Like, why is that bad? Assuming there's no
this is one of those things where you can try to like get into the weeds and argue like the narrow points of maybe sometimes some people do this thing. I don't buy any of it, and I know plenty of guys that do this. What's happening is weak men go to other countries to find vulnerable women because they can exert way more influence on them than they ever could in the United States of America. That is de facto the case. You're telling me you're looking for let me finish my response. You're telling me you're looking for a Latino woman and you've got to go to fucking Mexico to find it? Bro, go to California, go to Texas, go to New Mexico, go to fucking Florida. You can find Latino women everywhere in the United States. The only reason why you go to Mexico or Central America is because you're looking for poor women that are going to fucking flock to you because you're white and you got a ton of money, or because you're black and you're fucking exotic and foreign from the United States of America. That's why they do it.
Okay, now
wait. Let me just quickly respond, Destiny. Don't take this the wrong way, buddy. But your wife is Swedish. I mean, like, you're one of like what makes you different than the guys you're
passport, bro.
Do you think that people in Sweden are desperately looking for foreign men to save them, the same way that people in Eastern European and South America are? Wait, hold on, wait. Did you really just make that comparison?
Because as an American guy who has clout, you're going to be kind of like on a higher up scale when you go to Sweden. There's not a lot of guys who have clout in Sweden. There's not that many Americans there due to strict whatever immigration and whatnot. So yeah, like you are going to be exotic there, and that is going to give you a lot of points. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, hold on, wait. You're wrong. I don't know what to tell you. As somebody that's been to parts of Southeast Asia, multiple parts. Somebody I haven't been to South America yet, Central America, and parts of Europe. I don't think I've ever gotten clout points in like Germany or France or the UK for being American, or Sweden for being American. But when I'm in Taiwan or when I'm in South Korea, I get a lot of points for being white and American. And from what I've heard from people, if you go to a place in Eastern Europe or if you go to South America, you get a lot of clout for being American. I'm not going to go to Sweden and someone's like, oh my God, you're American. Like, let me marry you. Bro, it's a first world country. They're not trying to flock to America from Sweden.
You straight up said that, your wife slid into your DMs.
Yes.
Like that, obviously that's because you have clout.
But but it's not, I'm not talking about picking up women because of clout. I'm talking about finding vulnerable women to pick up because you can't get anybody in your country. That's what you go to Eastern Europe and you go to South America because these are women that their financial options kind of suck. They're kind of like relegated to sometimes not the best of lives. Getting enough money to travel to exotic places, especially like the United States, usually out of reach, and a US guy will usually like come by and pick one of these people up, and that's like their ticket out of that situation sometimes. But people in like Germany, in France, in the UK, in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in Sweden, in Norway, they're not looking for tickets to escape their country like somebody in like Romania or even like Lithuania or places in Central or South America are. It's a totally different world in terms of like picking up people.
But wait, if it's okay to use your clout to pick up girls, why is it not okay to use, your travels
in another country to pick up girls?
I don't think there's anything wrong with using clout to pick up girls. What I think is interesting to me, what I think is a red flag is when somebody says, I need to leave my country to find a good woman. That sounds to me like you're not capable of competing on this market because these women know better, and you're looking for a woman that's living in poverty that sees you as an escape. That's what I hear, and I think that's what most people hear.
Well, Destiny is just really excellent at disagreeing. That's why, like, 90% of the time, I can't tell if he actually believes or he's just being contentious, because the picture that you're painting is that's what all guys are traveling for.
That's what most. When people talk about going to Eastern Europe or South America, that's what most.
I wouldn't even say most.
I would say most.
I think there's a percentage of every variety. I think there are guys that are going to take advantage of it. I'm 100% sure that happens. There's guys that find vulnerable women they can take advantage of right here in America. The discussion we were having today is dudes that literally use that roommate app. They use that roommate app to try to figure out how to make a girl go from their roommate to their girlfriend. They come in under a false pretense.
Yeah, or guys that tell you to date women that are 19 or 20 because they have less baggage. It's the same thing.
Right,
yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that's, again, is a small demographic. How many guys out there are really in their 30s that are intentionally going for girls that are still in their teens? I don't really think that's the majority, Destiny. I definitely agree.
No, but that's what the Tates recommend.
Wait, Destiny, though.
I guess they do. I've heard Andrew say that myself, so I can't deny that. And I thought to myself, yeah, I'm not looking for no 19.
Let me just make a point real quick. I have no doubt that there are some guys who travel to these third world countries because they can't get laid in America and they want to have the power dynamic in their favor. And I would fully be willing to concede that some of them manipulate girls. However, that being said, using myself as a personal example, right? I can get laid in America. I can get laid wherever I go. Mm-hmm. What I like about traveling to other countries like Eastern Europe or South America is that, one, the women are more feminine. I've just noticed that. They're typically more reliable. They're less flaky. And I find, on average, they have better values. So there are some practical, tangible benefits to dating in a third world country. Again, my girlfriend's from the U.S., right? I was able to find a great girl in the U.S., but I can see why someone who's like, okay, you know what? I just want to find a great girlfriend. let me travel to a place where there's more great girlfriends on average.
Alex, let me just throw one more thing in there real quick because I think it needs to be said. Your experience traveling is not going to be the same as Destiny's experience traveling. It's not going to be the same as my experience traveling. So saying that, oh, you don't get any clout in other Western countries as an American, as what American? Because black guys get a different type of attraction in any other country. Doesn't matter if that country is doing better or worse economically. There's guys that could go to rich countries richer than America, and they do great just because they're exotic or desirable there. So it depends on which American is doing that. And it's also disingenuous to say, oh, if you want Latin women, there's Latin women right here. Yeah, with American ideology. So it's the same thing as the argument that black men are like not interested in black women, but yet they're going to mostly Brazil and DR to get dark-skinned women from those countries. So the issue is it's important. So the issue is not race for them. The issue is not age. The issue is not economics. The issue is the mentality that Western women have. So we can keep ignoring that. We keep ignoring that.
He's got to restate the same thing 4 times.
Shaming these guys for all these reasons that are despicable while ignoring the major reason, which is not despicable at all. It's extremely reasonable.
I get it. That's the point I made. We're in agreement. So let's let Destiny respond to both.
Well, I want to say one thing. It's just like everyone's like, in these spaces is like women are masculine. So it's just like in this whole vacuum of the United States, the women are masculine, but the men remain like the men are all good. Like the men aren't feminine. Because it's like, when are we going to discuss men being feminine?
They are very.
I think that's a fair point. I want to let Destiny respond.
I don't know. I feel like that hasn't been part of the discussion. It's just like maybe we should import maybe some Russian guys, some Cuban guys, like real macho men in this country, just to balance it out.
Fortunately, I'm Russian and Destiny's Cuban. We got best of both worlds. All right, let's let Destiny respond to this.
I mean, like, we're at a fundamental disagreement. Like, you can give me these points that, like, oh, well, some men are traveling because they're just looking for a good woman, blah, 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 blah. That's fine, and I'm sure that is true for some men, but overwhelmingly, like, it's a red flag to me when I hear a guy say, I need to go to Eastern Europe or South or Central America to find a good woman. What I'm hearing is, I need to find a woman that isn't going to catch me on my bullshit and needs me for the money that I provide. That's what I'm hearing when somebody says that.
That's only one aspect of it, though. That's only one group of guys. There's only certain guys that are doing that. That's not the majority. That's not all.
Okay. I think it's the majority. That's my opinion.
I agree, but I just don't agree that that's the dominant. I don't agree that that's the focus. That's the narrative.
Well, that's why I said we fundamentally disagree on that. That's why I just said that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unless we have some statistics, we're not going to be able to get to the bottom of it. All three of us agree that some men travel to third world countries for nefarious purposes, and some do it for good purposes. But the question is which, what percentage? So if I had to venture to say, I think that the majority of guys who travel third world countries, not trying to do anything manipulative or exploitative. They're just literally traveling there because 1, quality of life is cheaper, 2, maybe they just want to travel, and 3, they would like to meet a cool girl from that country because they're more attracted to this type of girl. Maybe those girls are more feminine and so on. But there are practical, tangible reasons why a guy might want to date in a different country. But okay, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get to the bottom of it without like having like a study of percentages.
It's like if we dive more into it, like it doesn't even really make sense. Like meeting somebody who's foreign is already like a big hurdle, depending on, especially when you start taking language barriers into account in terms of like trying to build a relationship with somebody. You have absolutely no.
You haven't done it.
My wife is literally Swedish. Moron, what are you talking about? No, I have done it.
First of all, don't call me a moron. Second of all, I personally have had many experiences with women that we barely speak the same language.
Yeah, those are probably the ones that you do the best with. That doesn't surprise me, my dude. That's not the compliment. That's not the compliment you think it is, my dude. Women are best when they can't understand a single fucking word I'm saying. Like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
No. What I'm saying is that I do well with women in general, even when the culture is different. So you're saying that why? Because that's not how it is for you. So I don't know what makes you the arbiter of every other man's experience. You don't know what the these guys are traveling for, what they're doing. You're just assuming that's what it is, and that's fine. If that's what you think it mostly is, that's what you believe it mostly is. That's not what I've seen mostly. Okay. Just like I tell you, simping in this country is not a good look. You get ran over like a rug. But simping in these other countries is quite effective. That simp behavior works in a lot of the countries. So who's the sucker in that scenario? Who's that sucker in that scenario?
I don't even know what you mean by simp behavior. I don't know what that even means.
Who's the sucker in that scenario when the guy's behaving that way in another country, but he's still getting the girlfriend? So who's the sucker? Because the girl is getting this type of treatment from the guy, but the guy's actually getting the girlfriend.
Yeah, because he's rich and he's exotic. Bro, you're restating the same thing 15 times.
Nobody said anything about Rich. Nobody said anything about Rich. He's just a nice guy. And what I'm trying to tell you is just being a nice guy, no toxicity, okay? No red pill forced ideology on the woman. Just being a regular old nice guy that usually gets rejected in America and usually gets taken advantage of America, that actually gets you a steady long-term girlfriend in these other countries. So who are you? So who are you to say?
He's got to restate it. He's got to restate it one more time, Alex.
So who are you? No, I'm not restating. I'm asking you a question. So who are you to determine that he's weak for going to another country?
Because what
who are you to determine that?
He's got to ask the same question two ways.
You say, no, it's not the same question, because those are two things that you said. You said leaving the country for a woman means that you're a weak man, and you also said that it doesn't make any sense. So I'm asking, what makes you the arbiter of that? What makes destiny determine whether it makes sense or it means you're weak?
Okay, let's let him answer.
By definition, you're literally saying that the men are too simpy in America, but when they go to these other poorer countries, they get rewarded for their simpery. Like, by definition, I consider a simp man a weak man. So that's what you're telling me, like, deductively as true. So
no, my guy. I said simp behavior. I didn't say him being simpy or too simpy. And what I'm saying is, what I'm making is, and you guys can laugh like it's not making sense. It's making perfect fucking sense. What I'm saying is, that type of guy, it didn't work for him here. But if he went to that other country, he wouldn't have to use money or anything else. He could just be the same nice guy that he was here, and it's more effective. Meaning the women in general are more receptive to all type of guys. That's why guys. Hold on, and that's why guys are traveling for a multitude of reasons and different types of guys.
You're not just a normal guy in these other countries. You're a rich, wealthy American tourist.
So let's cut to this question. So do you feel that the women are not in any way better in these other countries than they are in the West?
No.
Okay, that's your opinion. But most guys feel that foreign women actually.
A lot of guys probably do. A lot of guys are weak men. They can't handle a woman that has a fucking job. Most guys rely on the fact that they have a paycheck just to capture a fucking woman. Yeah, of course.
They still want a girlfriend. Everybody wants a Ferrari, and in Italy, Ferraris are cheaper. Don't be surprised if broke men go to Italy to get a Ferrari.
Bro, what are these stories that you're presenting? That like, oh, the broke men go to Italy to buy Ferraris to get women? Who are you even talking about right now?
I did not say to get women.
I'm muting both of you guys. Okay, just give me like literally 30 seconds, and then we can go back to the paper.
One woman, and if it's easier to get a woman in the country, they're going to COVID.
I'm about to make a point for you. All right, Destiny, do you think I'm a weak man from everything you know about me?
I don't know why you prefer whatever woman that you do, but I would say as a general statement, men that say that they can't handle American women are weaker men to me. That's what I view myself.
But they're not saying that. I'm not saying I can't
exactly
handle American women. I've handled countless and countless American women, but I think that's different than acknowledging that there's some cultural differences between, let's say, Colombia and America.
Yeah, there are cultural differences, of course.
Right, which are beneficial as a partner for dating.
Yeah, they're beneficial because the woman is usually more easily controllable. She usually doesn't know as much. She comes from a culture where she's supposed to be submissive and subservient to men. It's like a dream. If you're raised in the United States and you can capture one of these like young, submissive, like knows nothing, like can't really work well or get a job, like Eastern European or South American women or whatever, and you draft one of these in your household, you've got like the perfect like chow bang maid. Yeah, of course, I can understand why that's attractive.
Listen, you're way off about that. Latino women, if anything, are way more feisty than the average white girl.
Exactly.
Going back to this, the reason that I find Latina girls to be on average better partners than chicks in America is they're more feminine, they have better relationships with their family, they're more family oriented, which meshes with me. I think that they take more pride in their appearance, and I think also they're better in bed. I think that they're on average less flaky and more reliable when it comes to like something important. So there's 5 practical reasons why.
Okay, if you say sure, and I can knock 2 of these off immediately. If you're going to South America and marrying a woman and bringing her back to the United States, how does that have a better relationship with her family or make her more family oriented when you're literally abducting her from her family to bring her back to the U.S. to marry her?
No one's
starting a new family, Destiny. She's starting a new family.
Yeah, and you shouldn't bring her back. You should stay.
I would be against bringing a girl back. Yeah, if you're hanging out there, you're living there. What's wrong with hanging out?
Why bring her back?
Well, I never said there's anything wrong. If you want to move to another country and then like socialize with the locals and find that's fine. But that's not what we're talking about here.
No,
it's not. We're not. We're talking about men that are going to other countries to find wives and either bring them back to the United States or use their American influence to like.
Okay, maybe we're talking past each other, but it's not what I was talking about.
Are we talking about moving to other countries like permanently? If you want to do that, I guess that's a different topic though than like a passport bro.
We're talking about having relationships with women who live in different countries and analyzing whether those women on average are better or worse than women in America.
Yeah, that was the initial question. But Destiny, what I want to ask you is, if the women are already the way you described, if they're already submissive, they're already raised to see things that way, why would the guy be wrong for going to a place where the women are already like that? How is he taking advantage of them?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do, there's
I'm just asking.
And I'm trying to answer. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's usually weaker guys that do it because they're intimidated by women that have more experience or awareness of the world. Eastern European women, South American women, these are very easy to manipulate people. They don't know any better. They don't know shit. If you're going to like poor areas, especially, right?
Let me ask you this, Destiny. Do you think it's possible that there might be guys that they do well with women here, they get women here, they date women here, they can even marry women here, they've been married to women here or whatever, but they still prefer the women in these other countries? Is that guy still weak if he has no problem attracting women here?
It's possible, but like I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation about the reason why people in general say statements. If you want to give me this like like, well, there might be a guy that does well here and then he goes to other countries. See, that's not who we're talking about, because by definition, there's a lot
of guys that travel that are doing quite well here.
Hold on. You open this conversation with guys do simping behavior for women here and it doesn't work, and then they simp in other countries and it does work. That's what we open this. We're talking about guys that
you're already having the discussion. I said an example is regardless of what your approach is or your personality is with women, regardless of what your charisma is, you still have a better shot in these other countries. Whether you're a 4, a 5, a 3, an 8, a 10, whether you make $20,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, either way, you have a better shot there. So if you're closing the deal 3 times a month in America, you'll close the deal 8 times a month in another country. That's the argument that I was having, is that no matter what your strategy is, you do better with the women in these other countries. I don't think it's only isolated to men that are weak.
Okay. I disagree. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. If you need to go down to other areas where you've got a better shot because you can't hack it here, then go do that. That's fine. That's great.
You're making a straw man argument right now. You're better than
No, that's what he literally is saying. He's literally saying that, like, well, they won't do as well here and they can do better in other places. That's fine. They go to other places and do it. That's fine. I'm saying you can go for it. That's fine. Amen, dude.
There's an equal argument being having right here in the States. And that argument is that the men can't handle a strong, independent woman. And the confusion is, no, he could just simply not want it. That's 2 different things. Not being able to afford something and not wanting to buy it is 2 different things. Men don't have a desire to deal with these qualities. Whether they're too weak to handle it or deal with it, or they just are opting out to deal with it because they're not interested in it. They're not interested in that extra effort. That's the difference. I think that both guys are going.
Okay, so then here's a question. Let's see. I know how much you hate this because it actually forced you to answer a real question. Can you give me like 1 or 2? Let's do one quality that you think a Western woman has that's undesirable versus an Eastern European or South American woman.
Independent, being strong and independent, and not needing a man. Even
that's a negative quality to you?
Yes.
You can kill me, fam. Okay, then go to the next topic.
Hold on. By verbally saying that I don't need a man, that's as to say that that's the motivation.
Gotcha. Okay.
For why she does what she does. And hold on, I will argue that it is genuinely her motivation because I actually ask women. It's like you like to ask the question directly. I directly ask women, why do you want this career? What made you go to the school and get this degree? What made you do this? And overwhelmingly the answer is, so I do not have to rely on no man. So
I've never heard that in my life. That's like a mean answer. But
well, are you asking women? Because I've heard it every time I've asked women almost.
Let me actually answer Destiny's question.
Just as a heads up, Alex, I got 5 minutes, so go for it.
Okay. Here would be my answer. What are the practical downsides? They're less feminine on average, and also they're more combative. That's how I would
You just said that Latina women were more feisty. How are they more feisty? And
we're talking about girls in the U.S., my man.
No, but you're telling me girls in the U.S. are less combative than girls in South America, but you said Latinos on average are more feisty than women here. What does that mean?
Feisty doesn't necessarily mean combative. Like,
exactly.
Feisty means you're like kind of like you got a lot of spirit, you're passionate, right? You're like, no papi, right?
and they don't take
when they're picking fights for the sake of picking fights.
Nobody pick. Okay, never mind. Okay. You got me for 5 more minutes. What else do you want to go over?
What, you don't think women?
Real quick, there's a super chat in here.
You don't think there's some women out there who do that?
If you've got like a real weirdo, I guess it's possible. But no, I mean, as much as men pick fights to pick fights, I don't think American women are picking fights to pick fights. That's just like a...
I'm not saying every American woman. I don't think it's even 50%.
I'm not saying every. I'm saying in general, because we're talking in generalities for why we prefer other women to American women. And you're saying that American women are more combative, despite the fact that...
you yourself obviously do.
I want to just add that it really
depends. I would
depends.
definitely say that American women, on average, are more combative than, like, Eastern European woman, 100%. Go ahead.
Yeah, read this.
I thought somebody was saying something. Yeah, I got 4 minutes. What are you at? What are we at?
One of my boys asked if I traveled recently. Yeah, what's up, AT? Yeah, I know I've been to Cartagena. I've been to Colombia. I mean, my experience there has been pleasant. Definitely different. I think Allende's definitely hitting the nail on the head with the mentality of women there is different. I mean, whether the guy's weak or not, I think that's neither here nor there. If he goes over there and automatically he's in a different tax bracket, he's doing better with women. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't know why we're. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I don't look at it as weak being bad. I think if you can go over there and you can get better results, then do it. Guys like the path of least resistance, and there's a lot of resistance here in the United States.
Exactly. Let me make a point for Destiny. We have him only for like 3 more minutes. And then he's going to disappear into the metaverse. Okay, I'm going to preface it by saying, like 99% of the time I agree with you, so I'm not just picking a 5%.
No, yeah, I know.
However, I do think it comes off, you correct me if I'm wrong, that you're shaming the men who are choosing to go overseas for their dating goals. That's kind of how it comes off to me.
Yeah, I think I would, yeah.
Well, why?
Because if you're, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to do it. But if you're one of the guys who's like, I can't handle Western women, like you're a Western man. What do you mean you can't handle a woman in your own culture? And you're saying you've got to go to a poorer country? And it would be different too if these guys are like, nah, like, I find women in like Norway or like France or Germany. It's not that. It's like I go to like Ukraine or Romania or the former Yugoslavia, like any country down there, or I go to like like parts of Brazil, or like it's always these countries with like poor women. If it was at least like other countries that were like OECD equivalents, I would be a little bit less like kind of sideways glancing it. But no, of course I'm looking differently at guys that are telling you they've got to go to countries where the fucking median wages are like 1/10 of that in the United States to find a woman to marry. Of course I'm looking at these guys.
Let me do a follow-up. Let me do a follow-up real quick. Okay, what if instead of a guy who's saying, oh, I can't hack it in America, it's a guy who's like me, who's like, hey, listen, I can do pretty well in America. I've done really well, but I want to get married, and I think I'm going to have a higher likelihood of finding a girl that meets my criteria and is what I'm looking for and getting into a happy relationship in this country. But this guy can absolutely crush it in the U.S., but he thinks he's going to do even better in this place, and those girls are more what he's looking for. Would you shame those guys then?
I would, yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of sad, but I mean, like, if that's what they want to do, you can go for it. Like, knock yourself out. But it tells me a lot about a kind of person if that's what they're after. They're looking for younger, dumber, less educated, more submissive, easier to control women that are in vulnerable situations where they're more likely to be exploited because they're looking for visas or green cards.
You're making a straw man right now. No one's.
I'm not making. That's just in general what the reality is.
Alex, I'd like to present something. Because I do agree with what Destiny is saying, that exists, and I do agree that it's not.
Yeah, it exists.
No, hold on. It's not just that. It's unnecessary to broadcast that and make that announcement. And on that note, I'd also like to kind of point out that the guys that are going for genuine reasons that aren't weak, those are the guys with no microphone. Those are the guys that aren't telling you that they're going to these other countries. These guys that are going there and like getting married to a woman that's also a professional, also very educated and so on, and just shares the same values. Those guys don't mention it on social media. They just go and start a fucking family and live their wonderful life. So I think that audience, that demographic is underrepresented in the conversation because they have no interest or incentive in sharing their experience with everyone else, whereas the people who are constantly talking about it are the people that are complaining about the women here.
Bro, those are what you're talking about are the minority of women.
No, hold on. I just want to point that out because I think that's what's missing in the conversation that's causing the confusion, is that everybody that's talking about leaving the country for women are the guys that are complaining about the women here, whereas the guys that aren't complaining about the women here, they're just quietly going to these other countries.
I agree with that generally, but let's let Destiny respond.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just like the weird like fantasy of like it's the guys that are going over and looking for other doctors. That's the minority of it. Like when we talk about in these red. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Did I talk for more than 5 seconds to trigger you? Jesus Christ. Well, what I'm saying is that the majority of people, there's a reason why. Like, go look up the term passport bros. Like you guys are presenting this weird fantasy of like, oh, it's guys that are looking for other educated women. That's not true. On most of these red pill spaces, you guys say that educated women are masculine and less favorable. You want women that are less educated. So like, I mean, yeah, you might not say that. That's great. This ain't about you. It's about the space in general.
To be fair, you did mention that you went overseas to like date professionals and doctors. I do recall you saying.
No, I did not. I said when I'm due, some of the women I date are professionals.
Oh my God!
No, that's two different things.
Why are you yelling?
Hold on.
Relax, bro. Relax. You're too loud.
Don't change the subject.
No, I didn't.
I can yell on my mic. That's two
okay, I can yell too.
That's two different things.
I can yell too.
That's two different things. Going to a country for a specific profession.
You can't own any positions.
Or one of the women that you date have that profession. That's two different things. What I'm saying is, when I'm dating women in foreign countries, I'm not caring how much they make.
All right, so Alex, I love you. If you want, we can do this again later if you want. Okay, it's fun to chat with you guys, so I'll shout at you guys as much as you want. So I'll come back later. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
I appreciate it.
Jesus. Okay, I gotta go. I love you guys. It's been fun.